SUIM comparisons from user. So here we can compare two different users. Suppose one user is facing problem, another user is not facing problem, but both belong to same team. Then we go and compare that user A and user B. So one of them is facing problem and one of them is not facing the problem. So we compare this user A with user B, but belonging to same team. So when users belong to same team, usually they should have same access. But in this case, they are now one user was able to execute or do something, whereas other was not able to. So then we compare and find it out. So for example, so I'm comparing this ID with another ID which has one execute. So you can see the difference here, how the difference has occurred. So the difference will be shown in terms of comparison. This one object wise, for example, PLOG, Mirza's has that object, whereas Mirza's one does not have the object. So here it doesn't seem that it seems that Mirza 1 ID does not have any IDs. Let me assign some roles and we'll see the same thing. Okay, now let us compare two users, Mirza's 1 and Mirza. So this is what you can see, all the colors now. So now here, first one, D underscore SVAS underscore dev. Here for Mirza's, this object exists, whereas Mirza's one, it does not exist. So comparison is like different objects. And the second case, PLOG object, both users have the object, but the values inside are different. So when I double click on this, it will show the values related to that particular PLOG, how it is different for this user and this user. See here, this value 01 is not available to Mirza's one, whereas available to this user. Similarly, so Mirza's one does not have, whereas Mirza's has these values. Info type is stat 01, etc., etc. So it will show you in terms of the authorization values and differences. And if you see all of them are 3, this is means the object exists. Mirza's 1 means object exists, and this is even says same values. So both of the users have same values. These are the values. Both the users, green and green, has activity value 03, and here it is RSD value. Okay. So it will tell you in terms of authorization objects, etc. So that is about the user comparison. This is within the same system. When you click on across systems, you can compare two users in two different systems, system A, user A, system B, user B. So we can compare two users of two different systems here. When you click on across systems, you can put the system name in the system A, which user ID, in system B, which user ID, or you can compare the same user also, like same user A in system A and same user Mirza's in system B. So sometimes users complain, I am having access in development system but not in quality. So then you can compare the access in dev and quality for the same user. Okay. So this is the purpose of comparing two users. Now coming to comparisons from roles. So we can compare two roles. Every role is a different actually. No role is same. Every role is a different. No role is, no two roles are same or different. They are always different. Then what is the purpose of this comparison? Two roles comparison here. So we can compare this to compare with the master role with the derived role. So when you compare master role with the derived role, what would be the difference? The difference should be only the arg field values. So let us see an example. Suppose if I search some X role which has arg fields, uh, okay. So for example, this role has this is a master of it, reporting access. So this is a master, this is derived for India. When I compare, see here, no red should be there. Red indicates there is a difference in the objects. Everything should be green. This role and this role has same objects. Most of them are green, means even same values. Only few have different values. For example, let us go to where it will be different. Wherever there is an arg field, the values will be definitely different. So here you can check what are the difference of PL version, plan version. Here we do not have, for this role we do not have any access. We have 01. For this role we do not have any access. It is red mark. No authorization assignment. At least one authorization. These authorizations are assigned. So wherever it is a different value yellow, that indicates there is an arg field. Okay, clear so far? Right. And you can see here activity is different. It should not be the case. There is some problem with the derived role. You did not derive it properly. So what we have to do is you need to go to PFCG, put this master role, and then click on that data. Modify authorizations. This icon. Push it. Now you compare it. Now you compare the two roles. You will find only one difference. Remaining all are green, means same values. That arg field is the only difference between the two roles. So like this we can compare, we can ensure whether the derived role is correctly created or not. So that is what comparison of roles within a same system. If you talk about across different systems, so I can compare a role between two systems, same role, especially whenever you transport a role from dev to quality, compare the role in dev and quality, so the role name will be same as it is. Okay. When you compare the role between dev and quality, it would be same. It has to be same. If there is any difference in the role, then the transport is a failure. So that is an indication of transport failure. So across systems we can compare in this way. This will be the use of across systems. From profiles, we don't generally create profiles or assign profiles to user. So we use only first two, users and roles. So that is what about the comparisons from users and roles. Right. Now moving on to the next one, which is called as where user list. In where user list, you have in roles, in users. So when I click on this, the heading it is again users by complex selection criteria. We have already seen this on the top. Users by complex selection criteria. So this is a different way of presentation. That's it. Where user list entire thing is a different way of presentation of the above. Nothing different. You can check them. If you had practiced earlier, you will be understanding this is the same thing. Now coming to change documents, very important. So for users, so this screen, have you seen earlier? If you have seen, where did you see? This screen, have you seen earlier? If you have seen earlier, where did you see? What it is showing? To this ID, who created, then who locked, who unlocked, then who added the role, profile, etc. Everything. This is called as change documents for users. So this is we can also view this page from other T code also. It is covered to you, and I told you earlier. If you remember, well and fine. Otherwise, revise your books and topics. Change documents for role assignment. This is only regarding the role assignment. So if you give a user ID, to that ID, have you assigned any roles on this date? You can give a dates also. In between dates, you can give from, let us say, 2016 onwards, for example, till today. From this date till today, what all roles have been assigned? 3 roles have been assigned. On 11/2 this role was assigned, on 6/3 this role was assigned. So this talks about only the role assignment. For roles, difference between change documents for role assignment and for roles. So this only talks about the assignment of the roles. This will talk about the creation of the roles. Who created the role? If you give a role name, so this role name, for example, if you take and execute, so check the dates correctly. Don't put the date from date. So it will give you the complete details of the role from beginning. On 28/2 this role was created. On February 28th, Feb 28th. Later on 2nd March it was assigned by to some user by Praveen. On 6/3/2000 today also this role is assigned to somebody else by Praveen using T code SU01. Even time, date, everything is recorded. So whatever you do will be recorded. For profiles, so this we don't use because we are not going to create profiles and authorizations and directly. So we see only the first 3. For users, for role assignment, and for roles under the change documents. So this is all about the SUIM. Very important T code. Though they may not ask you questions, this will be very helpful once you join the organization. To pull data, to check data without any help. If you have proper knowledge on this, you can check, troubleshoot on your own without taking any help. Right. So that is about SUIM, very important. Now moving on to next T code. Let me know if you have any doubts in SUIM. So, else I'll go to the next T code. ST01, the next T code, which is called as a trace. So the difference between it is slightly different between SU53. SU53 will tell you when you hit what was the last authorization check that was performed. Is it successful or a failure? So this also checks that authorization, evaluates authorization checks, but between a time period. So let me show you the T code now. ST01. Okay, this is the T code of ST01 to apply trace for a user. How to apply a trace for a user? So first, tick on authorization check. Because we have different trace components, we are only concerned about authorization check. Next, to which ID you want to apply trace. So click on general filters, put the ID MIRZAS for this ID, Mirzas. Trace for user only. Only for this user trace is applied now. And now click on trace on. The moment the trace is on, whatever the activities that Mirzas user will do will be recorded. Let us see. Now let me log in with that ID. I logged in with Mirzas. First T code she executed is SU01. It was an error. You are not authorized to exit transaction. Okay. And then to check the error, I went to SU53. So I found the error and I communicated to security team, for example. And then the third T code, I tried to execute a report, SC38. Here, this one program I tried to execute. You have no display authorization. So third activity, I try to execute a report, and then I try to open a table, fourth activity, table name, for example, AGR1251. So you are not authorized to display this table. So in this totally how many errors we have faced? 4 activities I have done. Let us see the trace now. Logged out. Mirzas has logged out. To check the trace, first off the trace because the activities are done by the user. Off. And now go to analysis. Username. What is the username to whom you applied trace? MIRZAS Mirzas. Client 001. And now execute it. So if you are not getting any record, or it says it comes like this, no records that correspond to these such criteria found. So what you have to see, the dates are not correctly mentioned here. So it is date is correctly mentioned 6/3, but times are not captured correctly. The time is 7:29. 7 means 12 plus 7, 19. Okay. Now you execute. No. 6/3. Sorry. Yeah. This is the report you got now. The first transaction which Mirzas executed was SU01, and the answer is RC is equal to 4. Means not successful. If RC is equal to 0 means successful. SU53 executed, user execute, second step, second T code, successful. Then third T code is SC38, successfully executed. But when try to execute a report called as SAP-MSW0, that is an error. RC is equal to 4. So other than RC is equal to 0, whatever the value you get, that is an error. SE16 RC is equal to 0 means successful. I am able to open the T code SE16. But when I try to open a table, then to display it says not authorized. RC is equal to 4. So complete set of activities, whatever that user has done is recorded, and even it is successful or a failure, why it is a failure also system is trying to say. So this is the second level of troubleshooting we go. In SU53, if it is not helpful to us, or if you are not able to find out the problem in SU53, it is better to apply a trace for the user and then continue with the problem, check the problem. So these are the return codes we have. Return codes are RC is equal to 0 means authorization is successful. RC is equal to 4 means user has required authorization object but with different values, different authorization field values. Okay, so that is the meaning of user has access to the object but different authorization field values. So RC is equal to 0 means authorization is successful. RC is equal to 4 means user has the required authorization object but different authorization field values. RC is equal to 8. User does not required authorization values in the buffer. Just a minute, I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay. So you might sometimes get the RC is equal to 8 and RC is equal to 12 also. So what does RC is equal to 8 stand for? User does not have required authorization values in the user buffer. So this we discussed during the concept of user buffer, if you remember. This case, T3 was added when user was logged in, and when he executes T3, it gets failed because T3 was not there in the user buffer. So in this case, you will get RC is equal to 8. User does not have required authorization values in the user buffer, but actually they are present in the database. Whereas now last one, RC is equal to 12, user does not have access to authorization object at all. So user does not have access to authorization object at all. If you see the difference between RC is equal to 4 and RC is equal to 12, there in the 4 case there was access to authorization object, but in the 12th case RC is equal to 12, user does not have access to authorization object at all. Okay, so that is the difference between RC is equal to 4 and 12. Now we had got some initially when I did not put the correct date form, correct timing, we got 0 records read. So in this case, what are the reasons is incorrect input values, like just we have seen when the date was not correct, date and times are not correctly inserted, you won't get any records data output. And the second reason would be user is present in different application server. User is present in different application server. So this is the second class of our class, that is related to architecture. We discussed about the application servers, 3 layers of security, 3 layers of architecture: presentation, application, database. And if user is present in different application server, then this trace will not, this is a disadvantage of the trace. The disadvantage of the trace is this: ST01 trace is applied only in the local server only, local application server. local application server only. Hence, before applying ST01 trace, ensure that user who is facing problem and you yourself are in the same server. So how will you ensure that? Using the below T codes as mentioned. So if you go to AL08, you will be able to find out AL each users in each server by using the command AL08. Okay, so then you will find you can easily find whether user and yourself are in that same server or different server. If you are in the different server, for example, then it's reconnected, I guess. Okay, so what I was talking about is whether user is present in the same application or a different server, that you can find out from AL08. If they are present in different application server, if both of you are present in different application server, then you have to first find out the which server is present, the user is present. So you need to log in into that server, or you need to jump from your server to the user server and then do that and then apply the trace. So to jump into the server of user server, what you have to do is you have to go for SM51. So when you go to SM51, you can see the list of application servers. When you double click on the server, you can jump into the respective application server. Okay, so this is the method. They can you ask you in interviews also. In trace, if you do not get the logs, trace file logs, this is the log which I am discussing about. This log, trace display, this log, if this log is not getting displayed, what could be the problems? This could be the two problems. And how to rectify the second problem? These are the measures by going to AL08 and then SM51. So because there is a disadvantage with this T code, so this is what I am talking about. So three servers, S1, S2, S3. Suppose I am present here, Praveen, as a Praveen ID. User is present here, X. So then I am present in two different application servers. So as a Praveen, I need to jump into this server, S1, and then apply the trace ST01. So that is a disadvantage associated with ST01. So to overcome this problem, recently a new T code has been launched. To overcome which problem? Because ST01 trace is applying only in the local server. So that will be a problem for every time to check it and all those things. So to rectify that problem, what we do is there is a new T code launched, and that is the T code listed here, STAUTH trace, STAUTH trace. STAUTH stands for authorization, TRACE stands for trace. So this is the main difference between ST01 and this is exclusive authorization trace. This T code is for exclusively authorization trace. So what do you mean by exclusive authorization trace? When you go to ST01, you can see other components also, trace components like kernel functions, general kernel, etc., etc. So but this T code, STAUTHTRACE, is dedicated to, okay, you can see this T code does not exist here. The reason being it is only available in the newer versions of softwares. So if your system is new, then only new in the sense new version I'm talking about. So only then this T code will be available. So the advantage of the T code will be exclusive authorization trace. Only authorization trace can be applied, nothing else. And second advantage is trace is applied across all application servers. This is a second advantage. So advantages of ST auth trace over ST01 means these are the two advantages what we can say. Okay. Right. So these are all the total T codes related to troubleshooting. So on daily basis we'll be using them. SU53, SU56, SUIM, ST01 and this T code only in the new systems. So note this T code is available new version. So this T code is available in the new version of SAP only. So this is all about the troubleshooting T codes. Yes. Any doubt so far? Right. So let's move on to the next topic. So next important topic will be the SU10, which is related to mass user administration. So SU01 is for single user administration, whereas SU10 is for mass user administration, mass user maintenance or administration. Okay. So what is the advantage of SU10? At a time you can create multiple users. At a time you can modify multiple users. At a time you can delete multiple users. A role can be assigned to multiple users. Password resets can be done to multiple users. Multiple users can be locked in one 1 minute. So like this, if SU10 was not there, it would be very difficult for us to manage a large group of users. Okay, this is a screen of SU10. Here you can see there are tabs related to creation. You have to put the user IDs here and then click on create. So how many user IDs you can keep here? N number. There is no limit. You can put N number of user IDs. There is no limit. You can just drop down and then put here. And you can at the same time modify the users, delete users, lock / unlock, unlock. This is for selection of the screen, deselect and delete all rows, deletion of the lines, this line, selecting and then click on deleting like this. So creation. So let me create some test IDs, test1, test2, test3. So 3 IDs. Click on create. So it is directly jumping on to second tab. It is not going to address tab. The reason being here the first name, last name, address, communication, email, phone number, which are actually present in SU01 are not present here. The reason being, three different users will have three different addresses, three different first name, last name, three different email IDs, and three different phone numbers, right? Hence, it is not asking you those details to be filled. So, but company will be same. So, company has been taken. Directly going to logon data, all user types will be dialog. And one more difference you can find is password is tab is missing here. We cannot define a password, but the password is automatically generated. We cannot define a password, but password is automatically generated. Okay. So now the group whatever I have defined here will be applied for all the users. Developer, all the three users will be developer category. So I'll give the validity for 1 day. The test users, all the users will get the same validity, same defaults, whatever you are defining here. If it is US project, we go for MMDDYY, depending on the country, client, spool. I will define the default spools. Output immediately, delete after output. India, parameters, roles. So whatever the roles I am assigning here, this roles gets assigned to this user. 3 users. Save. So I did not define the password, I did not define the last name, but still the user is created, and you can see the log here. In the log you will find the password. This is the password. Generated password for test 1. Password generated for test 3. Now let us go and check the IDs one by one, what all has been created. So test 1, display. See, the last name has been filled as test 1, the ID itself. Then logon data, dialog, developer, validity 1 day. Defaults will be same as whatever we have given. Role will be also same. For all the 3 users, it will be same. No change. See the data. It is same. Okay. So similarly, you can modify all the 3 of them. How? Go back. Now click on modify. Go to role. Suppose if I want to assign any extra role, not this role, right? This is already assigned. Now I want to add another role. For example, give the role name. Let's say this role. Then save it. So that role gets assigned to all 3 users. Okay. Deletion. All the 3 IDs will be deleted. We will do it lastly. Locking. Lock. All the 3 are locked. Test ID created and they got locked. Test 1 locked. Unlock all the 3. This is for selection. Select all selected, deselect, select all, and delete. You can delete from the screen basically, not from system. This is a deleting from system. This is only deletion of the line from this screen. Okay. Right. So this is all about SU10 screen. Very useful because it saves a lot of time in creating users, deleting users, assigning roles to multiple users, etc. I am deleting them now. Click on delete. All the users get deleted now. One go. Very dangerous also. Do not misuse it. So now all the IDs were deleted. Last one, test 1 deleted, test 2 deleted, test 3 deleted. So this is a log is happening, recording whatever is happening. Okay. So this is all about SU10 and the remaining T codes what we have seen. User mask maintenance. And we are left with two topics. One topic is called as implementation T codes. So this will take us 3 to 4 classes to discuss all of this particular item, and then tables and all the revision of all the. So we'll be completing this course security by this weekend. So maximum revise and let me know if you have any doubts. So we'll be closing the session maximum by this weekend. All the T codes, will write it down, whatever the T codes have been so far. Try to practice them, write all the doubts, and clear before the course completes. Right then, any doubts so far in the today's class?